Welcome back, riders. Today we will be ranking every single park I went to for the first time during the year of 2023. If you're interested at all, I will go ahead and put a card in the video now if you're interested in hearing where I went all parks altogether this entire year. But if you're looking for just parks I went to for the first time this year and ranking them, this video is for you. Before we jump in, I have a few disclaimers. One, I excluded most of the places I went to that were pretty much just like +1 stops, so like family entertainment centers, things like that. But there are still a few like really small parks on the list. I just think there's something like noteworthy about them, so that's why they made the list. And second, I'm trying to rank based on like a combination of like what my experience actually was at the park versus what I think it could be had things gone better, or maybe all their rides had been open. Because, as I'll note a couple times, there's a few parks where a lot of the rides were closed. So I tried to accurately rank them between how my experience was and how I think it could be. This is my way for accounting for credits I missed because they might have been closed for the day, and it'll just make more sense when I get to those parks. This year was a little weird for me because I put a lot of emphasis to go to parks that I live near in the Midwest, but then I also traveled across the pond to Europe for some parks super far away. So it's going to be a little everywhere, but let's jump in. Coming in last is actually a park from my home state, Santa's Village in East Dundee, Illinois. I knew going into it that this was a children's park at heart. It was cute and it had some charm, but I I'm not afraid to admit I am not the target audience. They had a SPF Visa that, you can find those literally everywhere. A Wacky Worm, which was super boring, and then their biggest coaster is a Zyklon Galaxy, which is kind of just whatever, you know, nothing remarkable. I was really let down with the flat rides though, because I was excited they have a Larson Drop Tower and then an inverting pendulum ride, but the Larson Drop Tower is/was standing but not operating, and it's not going to reopen at the park at all. It was off the website. So I kind of knew that going in, just was hoping it was going to be open. It was not, and it's never going to reopen there, which is really sad. Those drop towers are awesome. And then the inverging pendulum ride was easily the worst one I've been on. I don't know what it was about this one, but I just did not like it. I have no desire to come back here unless they add something noteworthy like another credit or something, or maybe I'll come with my own kids down the road. Second to last is Bay Beach in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Zippin' Pippin is a great coaster, but that is all that's really here. There's a good amount of flat rides here, but none of them were worth my time, in my opinion. They didn't look interesting at all or anything. They were just, you could find them anywhere. I was really on the fence about including Bay Beach on this list at all. It is really small, but Zippin' Pippin is definitely worth the stop. Just know that that's all you're really getting out of Bay Beach. Third to last is Stricker's Grove near Cincinnati, Ohio. This is a weirder park because it's more so like a rental lease party space. It's only open 4 days a year to the public. They have two roller coasters, Teddy Bear, which is pretty much identical to like, Little Dipper at Six Flags Great America or the various like Woodstock Express at the other parks, maybe on a smaller scale, but it's fun, but not forceful or anything, not exciting. And then they have Tornado, which is like a medium-sized wooden coaster that overall it is solid. I wouldn't say it's better than Zippin' Pippin. It's not really close at all, really, but I think Stricker's Grove is more well-rounded with their flat rides and it has a little bit more charm. Coming in 26th is Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in Northern California. I have heard great things about this park, but the day I went, the weather was rather poor and most of everything was closed. They have three coasters, but I was only able to ride one. At least it was the most famous coaster, obviously Giant Dipper, but I thought it was overhyped. They have a cool dark ride we did, and they have a brass ring carousel. Those are always a bunch of fun, but there was just too much that was closed here to get like a true feel for the place. I think it could move up if I got a full experience. Coming in 25th is Cataplume in Mexico City, Mexico. This park is like an upgraded Santa's Village. being mostly for kids, but they do have some better and bigger thrills. The setting is really cool for this park as it sits on top of a mall. They have a Freedom Flyer clone that is actually better than Freedom Flyer because it hangs over the mall. Like it's got to be like 100 feet or something. It's really cool. They have a SBF monorail coaster. You heard that right, which might be the weirdest coaster I've ever been on. And then they also have an SBF spinning coaster, which it's unique, I guess, but still better than anything at Santa's Village. They also have a Zamperla air race and a good inverting pendulum ride for their flats, so definitely a thumbs up here. It was very nice and clean. Coming in 24th is Little America, yes, that is spelled right, in Marshall, Wisconsin. This place is really cute and like adorable. They have some very rare roller coasters and flat rides, alongside one of the coolest train rides that any amusement park has. None of the coasters here are stellar or really anything too noteworthy besides being rare, like they're not that great or anything. I think the Wild Mouse is cool and that's a decent ride, but the rest are either just straight up bad or just not noticeable at all, really. But it's for kids. This is definitely like one of the better parks in the country for kids, I would say. Coming in 23rd is Alabama Adventure near Birmingham, Alabama. Full disclosure, I am not a water park person, so I really am only considering the dry park for any of these parks, but especially Alabama Adventure where the water park is more known. Maybe if I liked water parks, it would place higher, but just for the dry park, the park has like no flat rides that interested me, and two of the three coasters are just flat out not good. But the star of the show here is Rampage, a CCI wooden coaster. It's a really great coaster with some solid laterals and some airtime. That's really the only reason to come here, at least on the dry park. But it's enough to propel itself above some of the parks I have ranked below it because Rampage is just that good. They also have free drinks here, so that's cool. Coming in 22nd is Mount Olympus in the Wisconsin Dells. I think a lot of parks serve their purpose well, even the smaller ones, and I could get behind that. Like a park like Little America is made for kids. I'm not gonna bash it because they don't have these big coasters or anything for me. But Mount Olympus is a place that is just off, and not in a good way. Their best coasters, Hades 360, easily has the potential to be one of the world's best wooden coasters. But the park just does not take care of it, and it's rough. Like, really, really rough. I could take a beating, but ugh, Hades is something else. Zeus is pretty solid, but Cyclops is short, and I would honestly consider it a one-trick pony. And Pegasus is just straight up weird. It's like if you let a 5-year-old go loose on Roller Coaster Tycoon. Just to clarify again, I did not do the water park for this one either, but the vibes here are just straight up weird. Honestly, it is legitimately sketchy to some degree, and I'm glad I got all the credits I could get there because I'm not really excited about going back here unless they fix Hades 360, which seems like a pipe dream at this point. Coming in 21st is Arnold's Park in Arnold's Park, Iowa. Yes, you heard that right. This place is actually pretty cool. It's right on a lake, which is pretty cool, again, and it's the perfect blend of like this old time feel with these older rides with like a modern infrastructure and cleanliness. I'm pretty sure they completely rebuilt the Legend roller coaster, and it was running extremely well. Plus, they have a rare wild mouse, and they have some other flat rides there as well. I came away pleasantly surprised with my visit here. Coming in 20th is Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in Vallejo, California. This was probably the worst experience I have had at any park. It was a very gloomy day, and although it literally never rained, like for real, it was either just not raining or at worst it was like a lighter mist, very overcast for the day. That was enough for the park to only open Medusa, Batman, and the Boomerang, and then close for the day super early. Granted, they did give tickets to come back, but for me, traveling over 1,000 miles away and you only schedule one day at the park, this was just a really bad experience. But I do think this park has a solid lineup if everything was open, so I don't want to rank the park dead last just because I had a really bad time there. maybe not bad time, but you get what I'm saying. Although I've heard this park is a hot mess and I seem to have gotten the worst of it, so I don't know. Hopefully, I want to make it back there sometime, but I'm like also scared to go back too, so we'll see, but this was hard to rank. I chose 20th. Coming in 19th is Lost Island in Waterloo, Iowa. This is a brand new park that opened last year in 2022, and it really shows. There's some cute parts and there's parts that are well done, but there's also a lot of aspects that still feel incomplete. This park really needs some shade. It tore through my SPF 100 in an instant, and they need some more rides, but hopefully that comes with time. But Matugani and Volcano are a ton of fun, and they are enough reason for me to be interested in going back. Coming in number 18 is our first European park, Holiday Park in Germany. This is going to start a stretch of parks in the countdown where the park's main reason to visit, and almost like the sole reason it's ranked where it is because of one elite coaster, or at least super good, and not much else. Holiday Park literally sells shirts that say, "I'm only here for Expedition G-Force." This park is very charming, but it is focused more so on kids. They do have a Skyrocket too, I love those, and they also have my favorite Zero Force coaster, but that's about it. Literally, that's the only three coasters they have. If I went back to Europe, I would probably skip Holiday Park. Expedition G-Force is fantastic in the first and last third, but the middle is just meh. Coming in number 17 is our last park from Iowa, Adventureland in Altoona near Des Moines. I actually went there two separate times this year. Monster is an exceptional roller coaster, but while they do have a lot of other rides, there's actually like a lot to do here. I don't really think they are that like high quality. I don't have any desire to ride any ride more than once except Monster, and there's a ton of rides I like don't even want to ride at all. This park is also extremely expensive, so I probably wouldn't be interested in going back immediately, but I still need the underground credit and then Monster's there, so I'll probably find myself back here next year. Coming in number 16 is Fun Spot America Atlanta in Fayetteville, Georgia. This ranking is really just based on how much I value riding Air Force One. This is less of a park than Adventureland or Holiday Park. It's a lot less well-rounded, but Air Force One is just a world-class roller coaster, and it's like the trump card this park has on the rest of them. Coming in number 15 is Plopsaland Japan in Japan, Belgium. This is pretty much just Holiday Park, but with a better coaster lineup. Ride to Happiness is my number 2 coaster overall, and Anubis is also sneaky good and often forgotten about because you have Ride to Happiness. It's very cute here, being another park mainly for kids, but Anubis and Ride to Happiness, they're enough to have a great time for the thrill seekers like me. Coming in number 14 is Universal Hollywood in Southern California. This park is pretty much Universal Florida Resort, or Orlando, excuse me, just on a smaller scale with a lot of the same rides. They do have the backlot tour, which I enjoyed more than I thought I would, but the real standout they have over Florida, at least for right now, is Super Mario Land. This is pretty cool, and it makes me excited to see the more fleshed out version at Epic Universe. Coming in number 13 is Wallaby Holland in the Netherlands. This was probably the biggest miss on my Europe trip. It felt like a Six Flags park, which is expected. Obviously, it used to be a Six Flags park, but still, the theming was a bit behind everywhere else in Europe. Both Untamed and Goliath were letdowns for me, but I did really like Lost Gravity and Speed of Sound. But overall, I walked away a little underwhelmed. Coming in number 12 is SeaWorld San Diego in Southern California. I was pleasantly surprised with my visit here. I like the overall feel for the park, and Manta was a big winner this year. The lineup overall is pretty solid. I did enjoy Tidal Twister, I got the credit. I know it's not there anymore, but I liked it. And the sky ride they have is definitely like a wild card. That's a really cool ride or attraction, upcharge, whatever. Coming in number 11 is Six Flags Mexico in Mexico City. I went during their Christmas event and I was pretty impressed. I thought the park was very pretty with all the decorations. They have a solid top two in Superman El Ultimo Escape and Medusa Steel Coaster, but after that, the lineup is a little thin. A little. The setting in the urban area with like all the mountains nearby, the park is super hilly. It definitely adds to the charm this park has. Coming in number 10 is California's Great America. The most interesting part of this park for me was comparing it to its sister park, also my home park, Six Flags Great America. Weather dampened our day at the park, so I was only able to get a little more than half the credits. I missed a handful, and I missed out some more re-rides as well. But I still had a lot of fun walking around here and noticing all the similarities between the two parks. Coming in number 9 might be a surprise for some people, but I have Valley Fair near Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. I really liked the vibe here. I thought it was very beautiful and well kept. The coaster lineup is pretty solid. I feel like people kind of sleep on it. There's nothing here I really consider that's bad. Renegade was a little underwhelming and or Uncle Nate just hyped it up way too much, but I still had a lot of fun during my visit, more than I thought I would. Coming in number 8 might be another surprise, but I have Wallaby Belgium. I feel like everybody is going to pick Wallaby Holland over Wallaby Belgium, but here we are. I disagree. Yeah, the coaster lineup here leaves a little to be desired. Obviously, Conda is world class, but the rest is. They have a couple good dark rides here, though, which was a little unexpected. They were actually really well done, and I thought the theming overall as a park was a bit better than Wallaby Holland. Coming in number 7 is a park I honestly didn't expect to place this high, but it is Efteling in the Netherlands. And that's not so much because, it's world class. I had a great time there, but I don't know, for some reason when I thought I was gonna sit down and rank these parks, I didn't really think Efteling would be up here, but here we are. We literally just speed ran the credits here, so I didn't even get to fully appreciate the park, but it was super, super pretty here for what we did see. And honestly, the coaster lineup is a little underrated. Everything's pretty quality here. I liked it. Coming in number 6 is King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia, near Richmond. This park has one of the best 1-2 punches in the world. But there's also some other good rides here besides those two, but obviously it's the main two here. I was really surprised how shaded the park was, and they also have some pretty decent food. Coming in at number 6 is a park that is often associated with Efteling, Disneyland in Anaheim, California. I was extremely impressed with my visit to Disneyland. It was absolutely huge with so many rides. Rise of the Resistance, Space Mountain, Indiana Jones, Matterhorn, just off the top of my head. Those are a ton of fun, and I'm really just scraping the surface with what this park has to offer. Just a quick side note, before this year, I had already been to Disney's California Adventure, so that is why that park is not ranked, and this is just the individual Disneyland park for the ranking. Coming in number 4 is Parc Asterix near Paris, France. This park has a pretty great top 3. Tutatis is world class. Tonnerre de Zeus, question mark, pronunciation, is one of the craziest experiences if you ride in the backwards row. And Osiris is one of the best inverts. The theming here took me by surprise. Something I thought this park lacked in, though, was capacity. I hope to continue to expand to handle the crowds a little better. Coming in number 3 is Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Virginia. This park was amazing, and I am dying to get back here and take it all in again. I thought their coaster lineup was pretty darn good, like in a sneaky way. There's a lot of quality too. Even like towards the bottom, some of the lesser coasters here, they're really good. Combine that with the theming, which is easily some of the best in the country, aside from Universal and Disney, and you have a huge winner in my book. The food was also fantastic here. Coming in number 2 is pretty much a bigger and better version of Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Europa Park in Rust, Germany. I grew to appreciate Disney a lot more this year with my visits to both Disneyland and Disney World, but I still wish Disney was more like Europa Park. They focus slightly more on higher thrills while sacrificing none of the theming. This was extremely close to being my number one park for new parks I went to this year. Coming in number 1 is Phantasialand near Cologne, Germany. The size of this park, along with the various restrictions they have for building attractions, easily makes this one of the most unique parks in the world. The theming here is out of this world and is combined with world-class high thrills. This is definitely a park where it's quality over quantity, but I think the quality was good enough to fend off Europa Park. They were extremely close though. That's all I have for today's video. What did you think of the video? Did you disagree with any of my thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. I wouldn't carry too much weight into my rankings. I find it hard to rank parks as a whole. There's a lot of things to consider, but I try my best. Thanks for checking out the video. Push down, pull up, exit to the right. Hope you enjoyed the video, and go have your greatest day yet. Choo choo, bye.